Ringo TV Reactions. We're back in the building again for another one. This time we're going to be dealing with the topic of this particular brother right here. Yeah, that's right. That's right. We're dealing with the subject matter of this character right here named Wayno. Yeah, that's right. Wayno appears to have a fragile ego. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Wayno. Well, what exactly is all of this about? Well, I'm glad you asked that question. Welcome to the show. As you join in, be sure to click the like button one time so that we can get started, do what we got to do. We're dealing with this particular character here. Goes by the name Wayno119. He's supposed to be some EVP of A&R for quality control music. Yeah, that's right. Quality control music. Isn't that interesting? Isn't it interesting that a content creator that been covering all these different cases, all these different stories, is having a run-in with an A&R so-called personnel? Isn't that interesting? You know, sometimes these cats on Instagram, they have these blue check marks and they don't even know who they talking to. And it's sad because, you know, in today's day with black men, one of the biggest problems black men have is a fragile ego. And it's one of the biggest problems. It's one of those situations that really stops progress. It prevents us from reaching new heights. And this is what happens in today's day. It's really very difficult for black men to cope and acknowledge the weaknesses that they really have. And I want to talk about it. A lot of you that may be in the hip hop scene, you may know of this character. See, I don't care who he is. It doesn't matter to me. Here on Ringo TV Reactions, we deal with the real. It doesn't matter who you are, doesn't matter what your name is, how much money you make, none of that stuff mean nothing to us over here. Right? So, with black men in today's culture, their ego is their biggest problem. Now, this character, he done crossed the line, so we got to put him on the skillet so that we can pretty much make an example out of him and use him as a teaching moment for social media. See, this brother right here was in a post. We're going to get into all the details and bring out the receipts. And this just goes to show that you never really know who you're talking to online. You never really know who you're talking to. You never know who you're interacting with. And you got to be very careful, because once you run into a social media influencer on social media, then it becomes really problematic for you. It becomes really serious. So, the background of this character is supposed to be some character in the industry, whatever. I don't trust none of these characters, by the way. But let's get down to business, shall we? Let's just get down to business. Let's see, where do we begin here? Where did we begin? Let me see. Let me get this tape going. All right. Let's see what we got. Okay, now, this particular character named Wayno was in a post. Now, I'm going to go through the post. I'm going to go through the post a little later on. But before we get into that, I want to play this video clip, because what the brother displayed is weakness. And I want to show you it in real time, because The weakness of black men and the mindset that most black men have is the results of a poor upbringing, that no matter how much money you make, you're still gonna have that weakness. You understand? You're still gonna be broken. You're still gonna be fragile. And it's because you fear. You wanna protect an image. You wanna look like a boss. You wanna look like the head honcho. And this is what I see with this guy. So we're gonna play this tape. We're gonna get down to the nitty gritty, and then everything is gonna come together for you so that you can understand the fragile ego of black men. Now remember, this is the EVP of A&R for quality control music. Do you understand? And he had a run-in with RINGOTVRAW. Yeah. Bad mistake. So now, let's pull up this tape. Let's play this tape real quick, find out what's going on so that we can all make sense of this. You're gonna see some text at the top of the screen. These texts that you see on the top of the screen is from a post that was made. We're gonna break it all down as we go. But first, I want you to listen to his words in this video clip so we can substantiate our case for the court of public opinion. Shall we? Let's get down to business. Let's go. Hold on 1 second. Wait a minute. Okay, here we are. Let's go.
His ego so fragile.
The question at the beginning was, why is black men ego so fragile? Let's go.
I think that is that, see, I have a problem with this question because this is a generalization. That's a general, like a blanket statement. I don't feel like all black men, our egos are fragile. I don't think that. But what I will say is that for a black man whose ego might be fragile, you gotta look at the black man's history, right?
The history, the black man's history. Now, this particular character is gonna go and talk about hundreds of years ago and all this other stuff. I don't think that he understands the question because he never graduated high school. So you gotta bear in mind that he's not really that educated, so we have to be very patient with him as we continue to go on. He never really understood the question from the beginning. The question was very simple. It was on how black men's ego is fragile. I don't think he understands how simple the question is to answer. But now, let's rewind it back a little bit and let's hear him again. Now again, remember, this man don't have no real formal education, so it's very difficult for him to understand basic words. So let's get back to the tape. I'm gonna try to help him out. Let's go.
See, I have a problem with this question because this is a generalization.
What is the problem that you have with the question? It's very simple to answer. See, a lot of times you ladies, you be seeing these guys in the industry and y'all be thinking that these guys are like top dog, educated, smart, intelligent. They're not really that smart. They're not really that bright. Don't look at the shiny bling, the cars, the drip, all this other stuff. You can't look past that. It's a pretty simple question to answer.
That's a general, like a blanket statement. I don't feel like all black men, our egos are fragile.
And to JD, would you like to get blocked? I could pretty much do what I want to do. Do not ever tell me what to do, ever. Or you won't be allowed to be in the chat room. Do you understand? Let me just get you up on out of here because you think that this is a game. And it's not a game. I'm not here to play around. I'm not here to joke. I'm not here to entertain you. I'm here on business. So you're gone. Now, let's rewind it back.
I have a problem with this question because this is a generalization.
Mm-hmm.
That's a general, like a blanket statement.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel like all black men, our egos are fragile. I don't think that. But what I will say is that for a black man whose ego might be fragile, you gotta look at the black man's history, right? Over hundreds of years.
Now he's talking about hundreds of years of history. In other words, rather than him answering the question about the fragile nature of the black man's ego, he's talking about you got to look at their history from hundreds of years ago. Let's see what he has to say.
The black man has been, and I'm not saying this by black women because I'm not one of those people that say black women don't support black men.
As you can see right there, he's trying to pander towards women, got a simp a little bit. I mean, the question had nothing to do with women. I don't even know why he brought that in there.
No means. The black man has been...
Has been what?
Dragged.
Dragged by who?
Murdered.
Murdered by who? He was talking about raped. I'm pretty sure you can read lips.
Taken advantage of.
Taken advantage of by who?
In public.
In public by who? And what does that have to do with somebody's ego? Do you see what I mean? Do you see what I mean? How this man is not intelligent. What does this have to do with a man's ego? What does this have to do with it? You see that? Let's go.
This is things I'm saying in public. Discarded, forgotten about.
Forgotten about and discarded by who? What does this have to do with a black man's fragile ego?
A lot of different things. I feel like for somebody whose ego who can be fragile is our egos are essentially like the DNA of who we are.
Yeah.
So your DNA of who you are. Where was this man raised at? So hold up, this guy is responsible for scouting talent. This guy is responsible for making sure that record labels get new talent to develop their careers. Are you kidding me? What does this have to do with a man's fragile ego? Let's go.
Specifically, I don't know, like if Shannon was saying this about maybe a few black men she may know. Or
now keep in mind, the text that you see on the screen is me and him pretty much having an exchange on social media. We're going to get to this in a minute. We're going to all make sense of all this stuff right here, but let's get back to business.
Just black men in general. But what I will say is, like, people, I wouldn't say I completely don't have an ego. I think that there's levels to ego.
Yes.
Now he's saying there's levels to ego.
So I feel like,
again, we're talking about a fragile ego. We're talking about a black man's fragile ego.
My ego is who I am, but like I'm still learning who I am.
So you're still learning who you are, and you're a grown man. You're still learning who you are. I mean, fam, could you like answer the question? That's all we need to know about the black man's fragile ego. That's all you got to do. Just answer the question. Pretty simple. I mean, I understand you failed every test in school. I get it. I understand you dropped out of the whole school. I get it. But come on now. You're supposed to be some sort of big shot that a lot of people seem to respect, because I personally do not respect you. I personally don't. I don't care who you are. I don't care who you're affiliated with. I just don't care. Because one thing I learned about you, sir, is that you have a fragile ego. And I saw that ego displayed. And this is why we're going to have our thoughts about you on this show. So let's get back to business.
There's no like top level of who I am. So I'm receptive. That's why I don't have the ego when it comes to like the level of like feeling that nobody, like we untouchable. Right?
You don't think you're untouchable? Really, really. Oh, we're going to talk about that in a minute now. Let's get back to the tapes.
I feel like for me being a black man, in every sense of the word, unapologetically.
He's trying to sound smart. He's trying to sound smart right there using that word.
There are a lot of black men who do work on themselves and try to build themselves up. And when they feel disrespected, they protect and they guard that.
Oh, so when they feel disrespected, they try to guard that. Well, that would be a fragile ego because you're emotional, like a woman. See? Now, this is the results when fathers are not in the home and black men resort to responding like women. This is why they do these things. You understand? But for some reason, this brother here, he just has a difficult time explaining and, breaking it down so that the public can understand the issues that black men have with their fragile egos. Because if you really think about it, one of the reasons why black men in general resorts to so much violence, crime, there's no unity, we can't work together, is because of fragile egos. It's because men in particular want to be in control. They want to be the boss. They want to be the head honcho, the head ninja in charge. And consequently, they feel that everybody's, beneath them. And this is just the way it is everywhere you go. Everybody want to be the boss. But let's get back to the tapes.
I mean, back to the first or second episode we talked a lot about nature, right?
Now check this out. Check out what he's going to say here. This is very, very educational. Check out what he says here.
In nature, if you look at nature, like animals have ego. When a male lion wants to mate with the lioness, he telling everybody, yo, get the fuck from around here. He'll fight whoever he has to get them away so that he could do what he needs to do.
Really? So that's ego? I didn't know that. Wow. I can't believe that. I didn't know that lions and these animals have an ego. I didn't really know that when it comes to mating, that's an actual ego. Are y'all hearing what this professional have? I never knew that. So let me get this straight. So if a lion see a lioness and he wants to mate, you're telling me that's called ego? Right. I get it. It makes a lot of sense. Okay, let's hear that again. Let's just hear that again, because it's really crazy.
Animals have ego. When a male lion wants to mate with the lioness, he telling everybody, yo, get the fuck from around here. He'll fight whoever he has to get them away so that he could do what he needs to do. And she goes with the one who...
Shout out to Bernice Henderson. Happy birthday, Bernice Henderson. Happy birthday. All right. So now, ladies and gentlemen, you can clearly see that this brother was on the short bus. Definitely on the short bus. I mean, it's really crazy that, the ego in the animal kingdom is when you want to mate. I never knew that. I just never knew that. You learn something every day. You learn something every day. Let me play that back, fam. Let me play that back.
With the lioness, he telling everybody, yo, get the in nature, if you look at nature, like animals have ego. When a male lion wants to mate with the lioness, he telling everybody, yo, get the fuck from around here. He'll fight whoever he has to get them away so that he could do what he needs to do.
Wow.
And she goes with the one who's the strongest.
One who fucks with everyone, yeah.
Right. So I feel like the ego.
But are y'all looking at what he's doing here? He's basically saying, notice how he ran away from answering the question to now comparing your ego with animals, right? And he's now justifying the attitude, or the ego, I should say, by saying that the lioness getting with the male lion is because of his ego. In other words, his ego makes him a strong lion. justifying himself in terms of if he have an ego issue or he have a fragile ego, that women that might gravitate towards him is because he's strong. Do you see how he's trying to justify a fragile, broken, weak spirit as some sort of strength? This is amazing. I mean, and again, this is supposed to be the EVP of A&R for quality control music. You can't make this up. You really can't make this up. I would hate to know that this guy is trying to help me develop my career. Man, oh man, oh man. I don't even know why they kept that interview online. I would have been embarrassed to even post it. I would have been embarrassed. Like right after the interview, I would have been like, okay, cut. And I would have been like, okay, cool, brother, great interview. And I would have just never uploaded the video to social media. Seriously, I would have never uploaded because it would have made me look bad. Let's get back to it. Let's go.
Animals have ego.
Really?
When a male lion wants to mate with the lioness, he telling everybody, yo, get the fuck from around here. He'll fight whoever he has to get them away so that he could do what he needs to do.
And what does that have to do with an ego? Like, this guy is tripping. Ego? Wow. So let me get this straight. So if I'm trying to smash a sister, you know, one of them fine black women's, you know what I mean? So if I try to smash one of them fine sisters, that's called ego. Okay, all right. So sisters, next time, you know, I'm trying to holler, it's just my ego. Do you see how these ninjas be changing up words and turn them into new things? This is crazy.
And she goes with the one who's the strongest.
Notice, she goes with the one that's the strongest. So a fragile ego is now strength. Yo, this dude tripping. So hold up. You're trying to turn something that is weak into something that's strong? Nah, fam.
Talks to everyone, yeah.
Right. So
And the host of the interview is just as slow too. Both of them slow. Let's go.
like the ego that the black man may have, there's a lot of things that play into it. That's why I can't answer that in a general question
Why you can't answer it in a general, what are you talking about? Just answer the question.
standpoint.
Yeah.
For me, do I have an ego? Yes. Do I have an ego in the space of I feel like nobody can tell me what to do, or I'm the top dog and nobody can't tell me shit? Nah, that's not who I am. Do I have an ego in the space of I feel like nobody can tell me what to do, or I'm the top dog and nobody can't tell me shit? Nah, that's not who I am. Do I have an ego in the space of I feel like nobody can tell me what to do, or I'm the top dog and nobody can't tell me shit? Nah.
Notice he said, nah. He said, nah, I'm not that type of guy. I don't think I'm the head ninja in charge. I could take criticism. Come on, Wayno. Wayno, how you gonna lie to the people capping right now, fam? Let's play the tape.
That's not who I am. Nah, that's not who I am.
Now, he said that's not who he is. That's not who I am. Okay, we're gonna find out that right now.
Nah, that's not who I am. My ego is strictly letting people know who I am and showing who I am. My
Oh yeah, definitely you showed who you was.
confidence. I feel like, but I also feel like confidence goes in the ego, but you shouldn't be threatened by others' confidence
Notice he said you shouldn't be threatened by other people's confidence.
in themselves.
Right.
Now, on the screen, we have an interesting story. Interesting story. But let's break it down, shall we? Let's break it down. First, before we do that, let me just kind of let the record spin a little bit, you know what I'm saying? Because I want to break down a couple of things for educational purposes, because you already done know that Mr. Wayno, he don't understand, basic terms. So, for the class, not necessarily you in the chat or you in the clouds, I'm pretty sure you understand these words. I get it. But for Wayno's sake, right? Ego. Wayno. Ego. We're dealing with a person's, their sense of self-esteem. You know what I mean? You get what I'm saying? I don't know, how does a person's self-esteem correlates with a lion mating with a lioness? I just don't get it. I'm still trying to figure that one out. I'm trying to figure it out. I just don't understand that. And just for the record, Wayno, prideful, having an excessively high opinion of oneself, arrogant, having or revealing an exaggerated sense of one's own importance or abilities. Okay, now that we got those basic terms out that you should have learned, in preschool somewhere, right? Let's get down to business and kind of break this thing down, shall we? So now I'm gonna put something on the screen here. Now, what is all of this about, right? What is all of this drama about? Okay, let me break it down for you. The other day, I was on the Instagram streets, just kind of browsing around, you know what I mean? So I got a notification from Spiritual Word. I don't know if that's a Christian site or some sort of, I don't know what they do, but they always post all the latest drama and news and mess for the public consumption, all right? And Wayno came in there, right? Now, a bunch of people were in there. This particular post, we're gonna read it in context. Wayno came in there, I responded, there was an exchange, and emotions was flaring, right? So now, let's get into this thing now. The post was made by this person, Barry, and it states the following: why women who can't be led always want a man who can lead. So now, the context of this post is about women who can't be led, but they want a man who can lead. Now, how many of you brothers and sisters know women that cannot be led because of their attitude, right? They can't be led. Nobody could lead them, but that's what they want. They want a man who can lead them, but they're unleadable, if that's even a word. Right? So that he made this post, right? The guy named Barry. So now let's see what Wayno came in there and say. Wayno came in and he said the following: why can't we all lead each other to some effing bread instead of complaining about what one another does or doesn't do? Now, when he said that, a bunch of parrots began to come in, because you know how it is on social media. If you got a blue check mark, everybody just start coming behind your name and, yeah, man, I agree with you, bro. Yo, you telling the truth, bro. Because all of them folks that are agreeing with him, they just want to be put on. You know how it is. You know how it is when they see these record label people, they figure, hey, if I can, kiss him behind, somehow he'll listen to my mixtape. Right? So now think of the disrespect that Wayno posed right there, because what he did essentially was he disrespected Barry, right? Because again, the question is directed to women. If you really think about it, why women who can't be led always want a man who can lead? Now, you would think a masculine man would come in there, right? Understand the question. Now, again, Wayno didn't graduate high school, so I don't understand how is he even working for a record label if he don't know how to read. I'm trying to figure this out. I'm really trying to figure this out. I don't know what he heard. I don't know what he's seen. Maybe he has selective hearing. I just don't get it. But the question is pretty simple. But then again, when you're dealing with guys that don't have no formal education, don't know their ABCs, then they're going to misunderstand the question. The question was, why women who can't be led always want a man who can lead? So why is it that Wayno came in there and said, why can't we lead each other to some effing money? Basically, that's what he's saying. He's more concerned with money rather than the issue at hand. He's more concerned with, why can't we lead each other to some effing money instead of complaining about what one another does or doesn't do? So now, me being an intelligent black man, I decided to come in there to challenge his statement. Because when a man says, why can't we lead each other to some effing bread, I'm going to challenge said person to find out if they're leading people to this bread. Because it doesn't make no sense you tell somebody else that we need to lead each other to some effing bread if you're not leading the community to no bread. You know, I would expect that you're leading people to bread. You know, now I already know what his job is. His job is basically to find people to use. You know, that's how the music industry do. You know, they always looking for talent. No, they're looking for some person, some soft, uneducated person to sign into a contract to use. You know, I already told you cats 1,000 times, you don't need a record label in today's day. It's 2023. Why is anybody going to a record label? Like, seriously. Why is anybody doing that? You do not even need a record label. You don't need none of these people, bro. They need you badly. Without you, they're nothing. Once you understand that principle, you realize who have the real power. So, this particular gentleman, Wayno119 came in, why can't we all lead each other to some effing bread instead of complaining about what one another does or doesn't do? So, me being the outspoken guy that I am, I decided to come in there and I said, at Wayno119, why don't you start leading and quit complaining? Why don't you start leading and quit complaining about other people needing to be led? Practice what you preach by example. In other words, if you're gonna come on social media, disrespect this guy, disrespect his post when it's about women, right? Which mean we're dealing with relationships here. Barry was dealing with relationship issues in terms of women who can't be led, but they want a man who can lead. So the subject, based on its context, has nothing to do with money. It has nothing to do with money if you know how to read. So why would he come in, disrespect Barry's post because he figure, hey, I got a blue check mark, everybody's gonna love me? Fam, anybody can buy a blue check mark. Sometimes these check marks be getting to people's head too quick. Right? So he comes in, why can't we all lead each other to some effing money? Basically, bread, instead of complaining. So he's basically saying that Barry is complaining. He's basically saying that men that talk about these issues regarding women are complaining. So basically, what Wayno is saying, we as men should ignore the problems that we face concerning women because it's called complaining. So we should disregard that and focus on just getting money. Now, how is getting money going to solve all the issues we have in the black community if we don't even get along? How is having money going to solve all the problems in a man's house if his wife or his girlfriend don't allow him to lead her? How is that helping? I find that the people that are in these industries, they're not really intelligent people. They're really not. He totally disregarded the point that the brother made and focused more on getting money rather than focusing on the actual context. Now, again, Wayno dropped out of high school, no formal education. He never read no books. I did my research. He was just some guy in the house, in the crib, never wanted to do nothing, to the point where his guardian, parent, whatever the case is, was like, look, you're in the house, you're not working, you don't got no job. And that's when he decided to go out there and try to do some hustling or whatever the case is. So the guy pretty much don't have no sense. You understand? So he don't really care about relationships because in his household, everything was broken. Do you understand? So when he saw this post, he saw it as an offense to black women. And typically when a man was either raised in a single mother household, what you're gonna have is a situation where when he see posts like this, it reminds him of his own upbringing. And then the emotions come in, and now rather than thinking logically and being able to answer the question to give a sense of balance, instead he focused on carnal things, which is temporary. Look, making all the money in the world don't mean nothing. You could be here today and die tomorrow. All the money you have in the bank account will go to somebody else. All the money. Listen, all the money you worked for your whole life, squandering or hoarding a bunch of money, you'll literally get it to the point where you end up dying, and now all of a sudden now the money is left behind. So money does not solve all of these things. The question is very simple. Why women who can't be led always want a man who can lead? And this is a true good question, because a lot of women are like this. They're unable to be led because of the way they've been trained. Most women are set in their ways to the point where if a man tried to lead them, they have a problem with it. But yet they want a man to guide and lead them. I think it's a very good question. But again, when a person have no real life experience, it's a sad situation. They won't be able to answer the question. So he's more focused on why can't we all lead each other to some effing bread instead of complaining about what one another does or doesn't do, assuming that getting bread is going to help a man and a woman join together. Now, this is the mindset of most people in the black community. They think that having money is going to solve relationship issues. It's not. It's never going to solve relationship issues. So what I did is, after I saw that, I'm like, wow, bro, so you're going to just disrespect this dude? Nah, you're not going to just do that. I'm going to challenge you. So what I did is I questioned him. I said, well, look, why don't you start leading and quit complaining? Because basically he's complaining at the guy who made the post. Rather than talking about it, be about it. Quit complaining about other people needing to lead. Practice what you preach by example. Now, in that post that I made, did I disrespect this character? No. What I did is I checked his character. I checked the temperature to see what kind of man he is. Now check out his response. At RINGOTVRAW, you definitely, he said, oh yeah, you definitely don't know me or anything I do, nigga. I been leading since you was losing teeth. Really? So right here, Mr. Wayno119 is assuming that I'm some young buck and he's some old head. Basically, that's what he's doing. He's basically saying that I'm a N-word and how he been leading while I was losing teeth, which mean he's saying that while I was some young kid, some baby somewhere, that he was already an adult out here making moves, which is showing the fragile ego of the black man. Bars. You see that? Now keep in mind, he don't know me is the real question. He don't even know me from nowhere. To even say that you've been leading since I was losing teeth? Are you kidding me? But see, this is the nature of black men with fragile egos. You understand? Now keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, before we continue, I want you to see something here for a second. Because we have to make sure that we know these things. Now, I did all my checks. I did all of my research. I did everything. Because as a journalist, as a content creator, as an influencer, I got to do my research. This particular gentleman was born on December 28th, 1982. 1982. Birthplace Harlem, New York. He's a Capricorn. And lo and behold, his age is age 40. Well, Mr. Wayno, you're 40 years old. I'm 45. And you look older than me. You look mad old, bro. I'm about to turn 46 June 1st, bro. But my point in saying this, fam, is dude came in there with a ego, bro, a fragile ego. He was like, oh yeah, you definitely don't know me. Yeah, you definitely don't know me. Or anything I do, ninja. I've been leading since you was losing teeth. So hold up, let me get this straight. So you've been leading before me and I was born before you, bro? Bro, I got you by like 5-6 years. Seriously. So how could you tell a grown man that you've been leading when I was losing teeth? No, you were in diapers when I was out riding bikes. What's this dude doing? While I was playing the Nintendo, you was in the crib walking and falling around. While I was out messing with girls, you had a curfew. What is this dude doing? This is crazy. But you see, this is what happens, ladies and gentlemen, when a black man has a fragile ego. All I did is I challenged what he said. Because remember, Mr. Wayno disrespected Barry, posted this comment, why can't we all lead each other to some effing money, some effing bread, instead of complaining about what one another does or doesn't do? So when I heard that, I was like, nah, fam, you ain't gonna disrespect this dude like that, man. I don't care about no damn check mark. Nah, we gonna check you. So now, I just asked him a simple thing. Why don't you start leading? Since you're talking about leading everybody to this bread, right? Since you got the check mark, since you're supposed to be the so-called EVP of A&R for quality control music, why don't you start leading and quit complaining? Shouldn't you be out there recruiting artists? Shouldn't you be out there trying to manage somebody's career? You online watching everybody else, worrying about what they gotta say. Rather than you say something about these relationships with these women out here that don't want to be led, instead you disregard that brother's comment like it wasn't even important. Why? Because you think you're important. You think that you're more important than that brother's question. That's what it was. Ego. His ego got in the way, and I checked that ego by saying, why don't you start leading and quit complaining about other people needing to lead? Practice what you preach by example. That cut him deep. You understand? That cut deep. So he comes in at RINGOTVRAW. He didn't know who he was talking to. He did not know. He did not know. Somebody give him some milk. He said, oh yeah, you definitely don't know me. You right, I don't know you, bro. I never heard of you. I never heard of you. Never did. You're not even important. You understand? So he comes in, oh yeah, you definitely don't know me or anything I do, ninja. I've been leading since you were losing teeth. Now, we already established that this is a young buck, you know what I'm saying, 40 years old. So he looking really bad about now, because how you gonna tell a grown man that's your elder? I mean, my younger brother is 40 years old. My younger brother's 40 years old. Fam. So anyway, let me move on. I came back in because, everybody was, kissing his behind. Everybody kissing his behind, atting his name. So this is what I said. This is really funny. I said at Wayno119, sounding rather emotional for a leader. Sounding rather emotional for a leader. And by the way, there's a typo in there. I'm going to fix it. And your usage of the N-word prove you're not a leader, but an oppressor and one who aren't speaking life into black men. I'm about to turn 46, young man. I doubt you've been out here leading by the example before me. Stop complaining and get to work by being an example to young men. Your response towards me is a clear example on why there could be no unity amongst black men. You see that? This is the reason why, as black men, we're unable to grow, we're unable to build, we're unable to work together. It's because of the ego. It's because of the fragile ego of black men. Black men cannot handle criticism. Black men want to prove everything to their people in public, and they don't like to be challenged. This man, the high school dropout, no formal education, can't even answer a simple question about the ego of a black man. The man went on to talk about animal kingdom and mating. Are you kidding me? And this is sad that this guy is supposed to be some sort of executive or some nonsense. How in the world did quality control hire you, fam? They hired a man that don't even know how to read. They hired a man that don't even know how to answer simple questions. How did you get through the interview process, bro? Seriously. Fam, I don't care if you were down with Rockefeller. I don't care if you was around any of these industry cats, bro. I don't care about none of that. None of that stuff impresses me. I'm in the industry, bro. None of that stuff impresses me. I'm not one of these civilians out here that look up to you folks as if though you're gonna be their meal ticket, fam. I don't care about none of that stuff. You're a regular mortal man. These are facts, bro. See, guys, when you understand life and you understand that as a man, it's you who make your way, you don't look for these gatekeepers and these different folks to try to help your career and help you to do this and that. They trying to help their own pockets, bro. You have to understand that. All I did is question this man's character, and his fragile ego came out because he couldn't answer a simple question. And this is why I was able to get that video clip to prove that Mr. Wayno has a fragile ego.
His ego's so fragile.
I think that See, I have a problem with this question because this is a generalization.
Mhm.
That's a general, like a blanket statement.
Mhm.
I don't feel like all black men our egos are fragile. I don't think that. But what I will say is that for a black man whose ego might be fragile, you gotta look at the black man's history, right? Over hundreds of years.
What does 100 years have to do with a black man's fragile ego? And these are the people that are making decisions for your career as an artist. These are the kind of people, and see, this is why as an artist, producer, whatever it is that you do, never kiss these people's ass when it comes to this industry, bro. I keep telling you young cats, especially you young brothers and sisters coming up in the game, you don't need a record label. Do you understand how much money you can make on social media? Do you understand how much opportunities is on social media? You don't need these people. They need you, fam. Without you artists, without you musicians, they don't eat. These are facts. This is a new day, bruh. You don't need these people. These people thirst for you. But now when you got people with fragile egos managing careers, fam, if you try to say anything to them, their ego is going to get into the way. And they're going to now try to hold you back from opening those doors. That's why you don't want to really rock with people like this. Like, dude right there, I would never trust a dude like this. Never. Dude, cats like this, and a lot of cats from New York is just like this. Just like that. You know what I mean? Fragile egos, bro. Why do you think there's so much drama with black people, bro? Fragile egos. Dudes don't know how to break bread. They don't know how to communicate. They don't know how to talk. All I told this cat was to question him being an example. Dude done lost his mind. You understand? He looked at me as an N-word, which proved that these are how these industry cats work. So I need to know, is this a reflection of quality control music? I just want to know. Check it out. I want to know, is this a reflection of quality control music? Because according to someone they hired for the company, now again, check it out, fam. No cap, check it out. Look at right there. Wayno119 check mark EVP of A&R quality control music. See that? You see that? So this ain't no cap. So I'm trying to figure out, is this the representation of quality control music? I want to know, is this how they talk to artists? Is this how they help your career? Because I want to know, is this acceptable in the company? I want to know. And see, this is why when it comes to working with black people, it's very difficult. This is why I roll solo, because I don't trust ninjas. You know what I mean? And this dude is a clear example of that. Number one, I never called him a nigga. I never called him that. But see, imagine a white executive or somebody from a record label calling you a nigga on a public platform. Think about what that would do to their career. But see, Wayno119 is a reflection of the demonic and satanic influence of quality control music. You see that? R.I.P. Takeoff. You see that? He's a representation. He's a representation of the satanic music, the satanic, way they do business. And it can also be a situation where certain artists may be in danger because certain artists may be trapped because of how they think. This is why they hired him. You see what I'm saying? They hired him and some other female with the name Ringo, which is interesting that they hired a female with the name Ringo and I'm Ringo. So it's like, he's never gonna forget my name, I promise you. You know? So be very careful, fam. If you're an upcoming artist, musician, whatever the case is, don't rock with none of these cats in these industries, man. You can do your own thing. You can rock out. You don't need these people. A lot of these people work for Satan, bro. This is what it is. Dude thought that he could just come in, say what he had to say. Probably thought I was some teenager online just effing around, not realizing he talking to a grown man. You know what I'm saying? You talking to one of your elders. And you learn, respect your elders. You better respect your elders, bro. You know what I mean? So be very mindful because his conduct is a representation of quality control music. And this is why, as an artist coming up in the game, you have to be very mindful. Like, this is a very, very dangerous music group to be involved in because you have to understand the trap that you will get into. Be very careful. You do not need these people. These people are designed to scout out talent. They manage other rappers and musicians' careers. Ain't no telling what kind of oppression these artists are under, where they can't think for themselves, they can't speak their mind, because if they do, you know what I mean, there's gonna be certain repercussions for standing up for yourself. And most of these people with fragile egos, they're not used to people checking them. They're not used to people telling them what they gotta do. Now remember, Mr. Wayno said in that video clip that he don't got a problem with anybody, I guess, telling him things. Keep listening to the tape, fam. Let's go.
The black man has been, and I'm not saying this by black women because I'm not one of those people that say black women don't support black men.
So as you can see, he has an issue where he won't give black women any pushback at all. So we already know what kind of cloth he's cut from. He's not the type of guy that would stand up to a woman. He's the type of guy that would let a woman just do whatever she wants.
No means. The black man has been dragged, murdered.
Murdered and dragged by who? The white man, not the black man. So whatever ego and fragile ego you got as a black man, that has nothing to do with me. That have to do with whatever issues you dealing with personally. You understand? That deals with your own insecurities. To have a fragile ego, that's coming from a place of fear. You fear losing something. You know what I mean? That have nothing to do with history or 100 years ago. You're not making no sense at all. You know what I mean? You just can't answer the question because you don't have no one else to blame. Now think about this question. It's very, very simple to answer, but he's having a difficult time answering it.
Taking advantage of.
The only ones that took advantage of us are the people that enslaved our ancestors. They took advantage of us. And because of the atrocities done to us, we adapted the same oppressive nature of the slave master by oppressing our own people. This is why at these record labels, they give them these so-called 360 deals that destroy lives. Told you, fam, you done ran into the wrong one. This is why when you go to these record labels, they put you back into captivity. This is why when you're an artist, you're now a slave to a record label. All the stuff he's talking about, he's practicing it under quality control music. Balls. You see what I mean? The same way the slave master had our people oppressed on plantations is the same way a lot of artists are being oppressed under record labels. A lot of you artists need to free yourselves and do your own thing, fam.
In public, These are things I'm saying in public.
And you're right, they'll delete you too. Just like the slave master, when you got out of line, they'll line you up and delete you. RIP Takeoff. There you go. They done messed with the wrong one. Let's go.
Discarded, forgotten about. A lot of
Discarded and forgotten about. Like Takeoff, right? Discarded and forgotten about. What is quality control music doing to bring justice to Takeoff? What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing to bring justice to Takeoff? You know what I mean? What are you cats doing? What do you know about what happened? Wayno, what do you know about what happened to Takeoff? What's going on at quality control? What's good? What's happening? Where's justice for Takeoff? Why he ain't getting no justice? Where's the shooter at? Why ain't nobody been locked up yet? What's going on? Can't trust none of these dudes, fam.
different things. I feel like for somebody whose ego who can be fragile is our egos are essentially like the DNA of who we are.
Yeah.
So
Nothing he says makes sense.
specifically, I don't know like if Shannon was saying this about maybe a few black men she may know, or just black men in general. But what I will say is like people, I wouldn't say I completely don't have an ego. I think that there's levels to ego.
Yes.
So I feel like for me, my ego is who I am, but like I'm still learning who I am. There's no like top level of who I am. So I'm receptive. That's why I don't have the ego with.
Now listen to what he says right here. Now keep in mind, fam, keep in mind of what took place in this particular post. Now again, he said what he had to say here, right? I came in, I responded to him, and he came back with the ego. You see that? Now, listen to what he says here, and let's see if he contradicts himself.
It comes to like the level of like feeling that nobody, like we untouchable, right? I feel like for me being a black man, in every sense of the word, unapologetically, there are a lot of black men who do work on themselves and try to build themselves up. And when they feel disrespected, they protect and they guard that.
That's why so many black men are in the grave right now and in the penitentiary. Because of fragile egos. Because when a black man feels disrespected, he try to protect that. That's emotion. He's moving like a woman, fam. Any black man that is trying to protect his image because he felt disrespected because of whatever the situation is moving by his feelings. And this is why so many men are in the penitentiary right now and underground in a box. You see what I mean? Because they make decisions like women based on feelings.
I mean, back to the first or second episode we talked a lot about nature, right? And in nature, if you look at nature, like animals have ego.
Notice he said an animal has an ego. Are you listening to this man? This man said animals have egos. Animals have egos, man. This is sad.
When a male lion wants to mate with the lioness, he telling everybody, yo, get the fuck from around here. He'll fight whoever he has to get them away so that he could do what he needs to do. And she goes with the one who's the strongest.
One who fucks with everyone, yeah.
Right.
The lioness doesn't really go with the one that is the strongest in terms of ego. You're not making any sense when you talk, fam. Are you serious? What does that have to do with an ego? Lions don't have egos. Mating has nothing to do with ego. If I'm trying to smash a sister from the back, that has nothing to do with my ego. This is crazy, man. This is just wild.
So I feel like the ego that the black man may have, there's a lot of things that play into it. That's why I can't answer that in a general.
You can't answer it because you have selective hearing and you have reading and comprehension issues. That's why you can't answer the question.
Standpoint.
Yeah.
For me, do I have an ego? Yes.
He said yes, he has an ego.
Do I have an ego in the space of I feel like nobody can tell me what to do, or I'm the top dog and nobody can't tell me shit? Nah, that's
Now he just said nah.
not who I am. Do I have an ego in the space of I feel like nobody can tell me what to do, or I'm the top dog and nobody can't tell me shit? Nah, that's not who I am.
Look at that.
Do I have an ego in the space of I feel like nobody can tell me what to do, or I'm the top dog and nobody can't tell me shit? Nah, that's not who I am. Nah, that's not who I am. Nah, that's not who I am.
Come on, Wayno. Come on, that's cap. You said that's not who you is, but based on the receipts, you clearly have a fragile ego. Come on, fam. You clearly has a fragile ego. So it's very crystal clear that Mr. Wayno has a fragile ego. He's old enough to be my little brother. You know what I'm saying? It's very clear. I just wanted to make this video to show you that, you know, black men do have an issue with their fragile egos. And it's one of the reasons why they always get in trouble, just like Mr. Wayno got in trouble. Now, I never heard of this guy. I didn't even know he exists. You know what I'm saying? But I wanted to share this with you so you can see and recognize, be very careful who you interact with on social media, because you never know who you're going to run into. You might run into RINGOTVRAW. So, I'm going to get up on out of here. Got to go take care of some things. I'm going to be back with another one. 5 a.m. in the morning. Salute to the chat. You know what I'm saying? V-Dub Man, Rebel for Almighty. Salute to everybody. You know what I mean? Doing what you got to do. So again, if you're joining in on the show, this entire issue was over a post that was made on Spiritual Word on Instagram, where somebody came in named Barry, and he made a post. You know how Spiritual Word always make posts every day. And the question was why women who can't lead always want a man who can lead. And rather than Wayno answer the question, he began to disrespect the poster, not necessarily the poster, but the originator of the post, Barry, by stating, why can't we all lead each other to some effing money, bread, instead of complaining about what one another does or doesn't do? Basically being very dismissive, disrespectful. He made the post appear to be not important, and he considered that getting money is more important than building healthy relationships. And based on my research, it is said that he's supposed to have children. So I don't know what is his status, whether married, single, baby daddy, whatever the case is neither here nor there. I really don't care. But my point is, if he is a man that has children, family, or whatever the case is, then answering this question or having an answer to this question should be pretty easy if he's a family man. Because if a man is leading a woman, he should be able to answer the question. But if a man is emotional and a woman wears the pants in the household, then he won't be able to answer the question. Right? And as you know, I came in and I responded to him, because what I did is I basically wanted to put him on the spot, because he basically said, we need to focus on helping one another get to this money. So I challenged him. Why don't you start leading and quit complaining about other people needing to lead? In other words, why don't you just be the example of leading people to the money instead of complaining about it? Because he assumed that Barry is complaining, but he's complaining too. That's pure hypocrisy. So I'm challenging the narrative by telling him to practice what you preach. Never disrespected him, never called him out of his name, never insulted him whatsoever. And he came back in, he says at RINGOTVRAW, oh yeah, you definitely don't know me or anything I do, nigga. I've been leading since you were losing teeth. Basically, he's assuming that he is older than me. He's assuming that I'm some teenage kid on social media, trolling or whatever the case is, when in fact, I'm older than him, was born before him, and been putting in work before him. So it's like, it's looking real bad. You understand? I mean, because he's 40 years old. I'm about to turn 46 years old. So there's no way that I was losing teeth while he was out here leading. Doesn't make any sense. So, Mr. Wayne, welcome to Ringo TV Reactions. We're going to be doing some more research about you, sir, to find out who you are, because if you have any connection, as we can see with quality control music, we're going to try to see what is your connection to the Takeoff situation. We're going to find out. We're going to definitely dig and see where you at, find out who you roll with, who you connected with, to see what's really going down the rabbit trail, because it's very interesting how the universe made me run into that post and made you respond to me. You should ask about me. We've been covering the Takeoff case for a long time. We want to know what happened to his justice. Now, being that you've been working with quality control for a minute now, it's very evident and clear that you walk path with Takeoff, which means you've seen him around. So that means you know some things. What do you know about the situation with him getting gunned down at the bowling alley? What do you know about that situation? See, now you're going to be held to public scrutiny, because I know you got a fragile ego. Now, if you got a fragile ego and you was hired by quality control, that mean that the executives and the CEOs of quality control, all of them have fragile egos too. That's right. Because fragile egos normally gravitate towards other people that have fragile egos. And when they join together, it makes them feel secure rather than insecure. Because I know your type. The type of guys like you, I know your type. Your type is very fragile. And you hide behind money. You hide behind clout. You hide behind blue check marks. None of that stuff impresses me. I don't care about none of that stuff. Do you understand me? Never disrespect an OG in the game. Never. And as a representative of quality control music, I'm rather concerned that with the way your language was and how you resort, it's very clear to me that I could just only imagine the level of abuse that other artists, musicians may be going through because of the politics of quality control music. That's right. So that being said, I'm going to get up on out of here. I'm going to be back with another one. Going to go grab something to eat. You know the drill already. I always got to get something to eat. What you eating, Ringo? What you eating? Food, fam. You know what I mean? So I appreciate everybody coming through. You know what I'm saying? Everybody showing their support. Let me do what I got to do. Let me see. Let me see. Okay. Let me see. Shout out to Bernice for the 10 on the Cash App. Appreciate your support. D-Mad for the 10 on the Cash App. Sam for the 10. Ricky for the 10 on the Cash App. Let me see. Some of these are from yesterday, but I don't know if I shouted you out. Mary for the 5. Lost Y'all for the 292. James for the 20. I think I shouted y'all out yesterday, but it doesn't really matter. Somebody else had sent the Cash App. I don't know if it's a Cash App or it's some trolling. I don't know. Keneal, I'm not sure if that's an official Cash App that was sent in, because it's asking me, do I accept? I don't know. What is that? That's something new to me. But I'll check it out, because a lot of times on Cash App, people be trying to scam people, and you end up clicking, you end up giving them your money, and it's like it's really weird how they do it. So I don't know. I'm not saying you scamming if you sent in a Cash App. I'm not saying. But my point is, you know, I got to check it out and look further into that, because I don't just click accept if I don't know what's going on, because everybody else's Cash App that came in just came through. So it looks a little fishy to me. But if you sincerely sent a Cash App, then I appreciate it. You know what I mean? It is what it is. So I hope everybody learned something from this. You know what I mean? Black men do suffer from a fragile ego, and it's one of the reasons why we just don't get along. It's one of the reasons why we can't work together, and the reason why a lot of times in business, we just can't seem to complete anything, you know? Shout out to VDubman for the 60 on the Cash App. Appreciate your support. Right? So I'm going to be back. I'm going to go get something to eat. I'm going to come back with another one. You already don't know what it is. Ringo TV Reactions. Signing out once again. Y'all be safe out there. And that's about it. I'll be back. We out of here. Peace.
If you like our content, consider supporting via Cash App at $RingoTVRaw. Become a patron on patreon.com for exclusive video content not shown on YouTube. You could also support through PayPal at paypal.me/RingoTVRaw. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and click the bell to be notified of new content. Follow me on Instagram at RingoTVRaw.
This is Ringo TV Reactions, the only channel on YouTube bringing you the truth, 100% raw and uncut. I'm out.